the thing with the Richardson is it is a good cap. It's consistent, and all the guys like it. Okay, and guys, we're particular about our caps. All right,
We are. Yeah.
but if you don't want a $15-16 cap, if budget doesn't allow,
Okay.
work with me. We'll come up with a $12 cap.
Look at there.
Yeah, or an $8 cap or
That's
whatever.
available. Okay.
Okay, but you made a good point in that if you're doing something and you're doing it for your employees, the main objective is to have your logo walking around.
Exactly.
Because what that is right there, I mean, that's a walking, that's a walking billboard.
It is. Welcome back to the Business Fast Track podcast. My name is Alan Pegues. I'm your host here today, and we have a very interesting guest on to the podcast today. This gentleman has been selling marketing products all over North Mississippi, and I'm sure abroad for at least 15, maybe going on 20 years. If you have any kind of stationery on your desk, a hat with your logo on it, maybe a calendar on your desk, you probably got it from Mr. Perry Whitaker. Perry, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
you.
info.
Of course, yeah. We're excited to have Perry Whitaker on because Perry is also in the marketing realm, same as I, but with Perry's business, he provides all of the marketing products that you probably see on our table here. We're going to talk about those in just a second, from hats, caps, thermos, shirts, apparel, all things promotional material. Perry Whitaker is your guy, and we're so thankful to have him on today. Perry, I want to just jump right into
All
it.
right.
Tell us about your journey and how did you get into the marketing and promotional products industry?
All right. Well, Alan, several years ago, or we're gonna have to go back to the '90s now.
Okay, let's do it.
So I actually started my career in the furniture industry.
I didn't know that.
Yep, I actually started way back then. It was Action Lane. Which then became
remember.
Lane Furniture, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I spent 6 years in marketing and 4 years in purchasing.
Okay.
And the last 3 years of my stint over in the marketing department, I was over our printing operation and also over what was called our marketing services area, which is where all of the marketing materials that our salespeople and our retailers used all over the country.
Okay.
It all funneled through us and was either created by us or sourced by us, and sometimes in a lot of cases repackaged or whatever, and then sent all over the country. So I was on we'll call it the logistics side of like marketing materials.
For the furniture company.
For Lane, yeah.
For Lane.
Yeah, back then.
Okay.
And so, after that, I stayed around the furniture industry. I actually had a little stint as an independent rep. I had several product lines with another guy. I was sharing product lines with him.
Okay.
He with me, actually. It was his company.
Okay.
And we had several product lines that were exclusive to the furniture industry. And so I picked up a few other lines to supplement those that were over on the marketing material side. I had a company that did swatching. I had another company that did printing. And I just kind of stayed in that lane a little bit, know. Then as that progressed, I met a couple of guys that had started a digital printing and direct mail operation.
Okay.
And they needed somebody to help that up and go, and so I helped them with that. And we got,
while you were still at Lane?
No, I've been gone from Lane.
Lane.
Sorry, we switched decades there.
Okay.
And early 2000s, I
Okay.
guess, is when I came on board with them, and I let my other product lines go eventually, and worked exclusively with those guys.
Doing outside sales?
Doing outside sales.
Okay.
And we had we had a huge for this. I mean, we run it under the radar. Most people didn't even know we were there. But we had a huge direct mail operation that we were running very much under the radar in Nuttleton, Mississippi, and like all good things come to an end. And around 2008, 2009, if you recall the real estate bubble and all of that, the ripple effects to that kind of took care of that business. Unfortunately, we were very heavy with one customer in particular that was tied into home remodeling and things like that. And it just, sometimes things just don't work, you know.
And when their business took a dive,
ours did too.
I got you.
And we just never fully recovered from that. And great guys, and I hated to leave them, and I really did. I mean, we worked well together, and I was not an owner, but they treated me like I was an owner in that business, and so it was a good time. We had a great time. I enjoyed working with them, but I had to kind of start looking if there was another opportunity out there. I found one that was strictly in the marketing materials, printing and promotional stuff. And that would have been, by now, that's probably about 15 years ago. So whatever the math is on that, 2010, 2011. And was there at that company for 11 years. And that's really how I really got involved over exclusively and strictly in what I call the marketing material business. And then, as fate has it, every now and then, a few years ago, opportunity come knocking again, and I stayed in the business, but got back to being an independent contractor. I actually work under my own LLC. It's PW Sales LLC, but I partner with a company called Bankers Advertising.
Because I've been seeing you promote that.
And I say I partner with them, but I'm exclusive to them. I don't go out here and just try to find a bunch of other people to work with.
Gotcha.
But I am an independent contractor, so I do. I run my own business. Bankers handles all the back office stuff for me. They do all the invoicing and collections.
That's a big help.
Oh, it's huge.
When you're a one-man show.
Because I considered doing it by myself one time. And it's
a lot.
It's just not in my. I'm too big picture. I'm not detailed oriented enough. I've learned that about myself.
But the fact that you knew your limitations
as
a business owner, you have to know where I need some assistance at.
Yeah, I guess so. And so I'm very fortunate that Bankers kind of found me. I found them. We found each other, whatever the case might be. We came together going on 4 years ago now.
Congratulations,
thank you.
Anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think we just passed over 3 years, I think. I think I just had my third anniversary with them. Every year they have or maybe this was 4. Every year they have a national sales meeting, and we just had that first week of May.
Gotcha.
And that was either my third or fourth one. I'd have to sit here and do some figuring. But
the fact that the clock is just going like that, because if you're going somewhere that it's like, I got to go here again, every month, every year. But that means you're enjoying yourself. You're having a good time over here at Bankers. The relationship is great.
The relationship's good.
The months and years are rolling off, and you can't even keep up. It's like a marriage.
I couldn't do what I do out here without them. You know? I mean, I've got someone at the home office in Iowa City that's dedicated to my business. I've got somebody that's also there all day, every day, that I can call him and tell him what I'm looking for, and he handles a lot of that stuff and helps me with all that, and he's kind of we'll call it my liaison.
Gotcha.
They call him.
It just sounds like a big word, my liaison.
They call him. He's my sales manager.
But But for the sake of this conversation and your local clients that you touch,
Yeah.
that's your liaison.
That's my
Let me
liaison,
get
yeah.
with my liaison and I'll get back with you.
That's it,
Kind of
that's
deal.
it. Yeah,
So let's talk
yeah.
about the quality
All right.
of these products
All
that
right.
you provide. So
Okay.
I noticed you brought some examples here that they see
Yeah.
on the table.
Yeah.
So, and people really don't care who your vendor or who you're getting your stuff from.
True.
I care how it feels in my
Yeah,
hand.
that's true.
I care, and my employees care how it feels on their skin. If these new shirts are itchy or they don't feel comfortable, they're not going to wear them.
Yep.
So my logo is not going to be seen. If the things that I'm ordering from you are not practical, they won't get out in the field. They won't, be used on their desk. People won't see them. The whole purpose is to get attention, correct?
Yep.
So how is the quality of these products that you are getting from bankers that you're providing to these businesses?
You know what? It's I guess this is the way I would answer that.
Okay.
Is if a customer, I get a lot of that cap right there it's a Richardson 112. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Everybody wants the Richardson 112.
I've been seeing that logo, the way,
Yeah.
because it's a, what you call it, snapback?
That is a snap. That is
Snapback.
it's a trucker cap.
A trucker cap.
Yeah.
I've been seeing that trucker cap everywhere from contractors to carpenters to just regular people. And it's like the cool thing
Yeah.
that's in. Like, I want a premium productions cap with that on there now that we're talking
We can arrange
about.
that.
Can we arrange
We
that?
can arrange that.
Yeah.
But everybody wants now, for whatever reason, everybody wants the Richardson 112s. Okay,
Yeah.
it's kind of become the standard for.
I've been
trucker
seeing it
caps.
everywhere.
Yeah, everybody's got them. Everybody wants
I
them.
hope you're the one been getting the commission from all these caps.
Well, the ones I sell, I do.
Okay.
But the thing with the Richardson is, it is a good cap. It's consistent, and all the guys like it. Okay, and guys, we're particular about our caps. All right,
We are. Yeah.
but if you don't want a $15, $16 cap, if budget doesn't allow,
Okay.
work with me. We'll come up with a $12 cap.
Look at there.
Yeah, or an $8 cap or
That's
whatever.
available. Okay.
Okay, but you made a good point in that if you're doing something and you're doing it for your employees, the main objective is to have your logo walking around.
Exactly.
Because what that is right there, I mean, that's a walking. That right there. Excuse me, I'm reaching. I knew I'd drop it.
That's okay.
What that is right there. I mean, that's a walking billboard.
It is. Because when I was standing next to the guy Saturday, when he was, a contractor that was doing some work at my home, every time I talked to him, I look at his eyes first, and then
Right.
my eyes went right up to
Yep,
his cap.
that's right.
Every
That's
time.
right. So, if you're doing something for your employees have got to want to wear it.
Yeah, got to be comfortable.
That's right.
And
But
it
I
helps-
understand budgets. Okay.
Okay.
And we've all got to worry about that part of it
Yes,
too.
sir.
And so a lot of times, when people are asking me to quote something, I'm just liable to straight out ask them on the front end, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about 1,000? We're talking 1,000 caps. Are we talking 10,000 caps? What's the purpose
Yeah.
of what you're looking to do? And then let's work backwards from there.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
appreciate you asking me that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So what problem, and I'm asking this question because I'm sure being in outside sales, you touch a lot of businesses on a monthly basis and that kind of thing. So you get a chance to hear feedback and input from so many businesses as far as, like you said, what budget restraints do we need to
Right.
stay within?
Right.
What's the purpose for it and those
Right.
kind of things? How will the product be used? That gives you a good indication on which way to go with which hat, which shirt,
Yep.
those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So from your interactions with these different business owners, what problem are you seeing a lot of business owners have when it comes to marketing, but they don't realize that it's a problem?
I don't know whether they realize it's a problem or not, but a lot of times a business owner, a lot of times it doesn't even come down to budget. It comes down to I've got an event coming up, so I've got a deadline.
Okay.
Yes, budget is a consideration, and I always, if you want to tell me what your budget is, then
Okay.
that really gives me something to work with. But more than anything, I'm wanting to know what you're trying to accomplish with it, and when do you need it.
Yeah.
I had a case in point. I had somebody sent me some art for some T-shirts this morning, and and told me when he needed them. Okay, that's cool. About 2 weeks from now, that's getting a little tight. But I said, you got your sizes yet? And then he said, yeah, I'm working on that. Well, I can't do anything without sizes.
Right.
Yeah, and I would say that if he was sitting here, because he knows that. So that's got a lot to do with it, is the timing. And sometimes your business owners and your folks that order this type of marketing materials from me, that timeline slips up on them quicker than they mean for it to. Yeah.
Because they'll get into the mindset of being able to go to this local brick and mortar, place the order, 7 to 10 business days, I can come pick it up, or maybe you'll deliver it. Your business is a little different. How does that process work with your orders?
Well, and that's the thing. If you're an existing customer of mine, and I've already got logos and I've got, and I've got all that,
go a little faster.
I'd love 2 weeks, but I really have some, on some of the stuff you see here. I mean, I have some of my suppliers that'll turn this within a week.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But now, if we're doing something starting from scratch, there's some legwork that's got to take place on the front end, and unfortunately, a lot of times, that deadline doesn't change.
Yeah, that's the part about
okay.
that.
That's okay. I've got some good folks backing me up, and we always try to.
There you go.
Try to accommodate where we can.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, Perry, I have been knowing you working in the marketing material space for at least 15 years.
At least.
So, what has kept you passionate about helping businesses grow with their marketing material?
I like being able to provide this service to my customers, and I like extending those relationships. I mean, just like you, Alan, I've got folks that have been trusting me with their business and with their stuff for 20-something years now.
Wow.
I mean, you're the same.
Yeah.
And I want to be that one that they don't think about calling, and everybody else and checking around and pointing and clicking and all that kind of stuff. I try to form relationships. Well, and I mean, that's one of my biggest competitors. The internet's one of my biggest competitors.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name who they are, but we all know who they are.
Yeah.
But I try to make it where my customers, when they know they've got an event coming up,
call Perry.
That they just want to call me and let me and my folks in Iowa now let us handle it for them, and we'll provide them some options.
When you have a reputation of making it easy for your customer, because you're like me. I reside in Tupelo, Mississippi. My business is located here, but I travel. We could be doing work for someone in Dallas next week or in Atlanta, next month, and those kind of things. So, having a good reputation and business brand is huge. And when you have a rapport with your customers where, I need this, and especially if it comes to a timeline, I'm going to call Alan or I'm going to call Perry.
Yeah.
I know when when one of my clients needed a new, big sign out in front of their plant that they're building, I called you.
Yeah.
And thankfully, once I let you know what my needs were, it was not heavy pressure.
Right.
You wasn't, just on me, trying to close me. You were very open with the process. You even, and to my surprise, you even encouraged me to check around.
Yeah. I'm not going to say you threw me a curveball on that one, but that was, I don't do that a lot.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I don't do that large signage like that. Because there's not as much of a need for it, so it's few and far between.
Okay.
And when you told me you were looking specifically for a 4-foot by 8-foot, well, I had to do a little digging on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew where I was going to go and I knew how I was going to get it done,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. But you were the same way. You never bought a sign that large.
I hadn't bought a sign like that before,
large.
Because at this point I'm a white glove service vendor that's providing this to my client through you. So that wasn't a request, and I could tell he was going to get this done with or without me.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I could just be a conduit, a resource for him, that just adds more value to me, to my client.
That's all I try to do.
And this is a huge corporate client. So the more I can get him to lean on me for the things that he needs, that's just more value to me, and it worked out great. And I just thank you for it. It looked good. We ended up getting it put up through a local vendor, Mr. VM Cleveland and his crew.
Who put it up? I didn't know who put it up.
Yeah, Mr. VM Cleveland and his crew put it up, and it looks great.
Yeah.
And the client is coming to Tupelo this month to see the construction of the new plant as well as your sign.
That's cool.
So that's gonna be a big deal.
I like it. Yeah. And it showed up pretty quick too once we got
it.
It
Sure
finalized.
did, man. I looked at the camera, and here go an 18-wheeler bagging up to my door.
Yep.
It alarmed me at first, but then I thought about, that's the sign that Perry sent.
Yep.
So everything worked out great.
Good.
Many business owners spend money on marketing every day, every week, every month, but a lot of them don't see results in the marketing material that they have, or with the marketing. I won't say necessarily marketing material.
No, I get it.
In the marketing, what are they missing, Perry?
And Alan, you know this as well as I do, probably better than. Yes, there's a lot of different objective ways that you can gauge marketing, but a lot of it is subjective. It really is.
It is.
And especially with especially with the stuff that I do with all the promotional stuff and the signage and the printing and like that banner I see that you've got back over there over your shoulder. A lot of that stuff is seen as an expense, and that's all it's seen as. And there's so many intangibles about that you don't know. Okay. And it's almost to the point of social media, where you can gauge the clicks and the likes and all of that, but is it bringing you business? Sometimes you don't ever know.
Yeah.
But from my point of view, like I said before, all of that stuff there it's all a walking billboard.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's value in that sometimes
that gets overlooked.
You can't put an ROI on it because who knows when somebody saw that cap.
Is that the reason they called and placed an order, or did they need to see something else to make them like, oh yeah, I'm going to call that company?
That's right.
Because that leads me to my next question, which is, what's the difference in marketing that gets attention compared to marketing that actually brings in revenue?
Yeah, and and that's what I was saying early on there when we first started talking is, I'm technically more on the logistics side of marketing. I provide all the materials that support the marketing function, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So
people,
you're a facilitator of your marketing. I don't do the marketing for you. You tell me how you want to go about it, what colors, what logos, what theme, on what type of, we want hats, shirts, and maybe some handouts. We want hats and thermos, how we want to go about it. You facilitate that. Here you go. It's up to your team to go out and hand these out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if you get these and they sit in your closet, good luck with that. But my invoice needs to be better clear.
Yeah. But the thing is, some of your larger, some of my larger customers, larger clients, they've got marketing departments. I mean, they've got marketing people.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times they're calling me, telling me what they're looking for specifically.
Okay.
I need this, and this, and I need them by X date because I've got this coming up. Okay, they know what they want, and I'm providing them a service by providing that to them in a timely manner.
Okay.
Now. And some of my larger clients do this with me, but some of my smaller clients, they depend on me too to make suggestions to them.
Okay.
And like you said, I've been doing this for 15 years exclusively.
You've seen what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. And fortunately or unfortunately, or how you want to say it, a lot of the promotional stuff, it comes back to drinkware, caps, apparel, pins. That type stuff that people are just going to just use and use
Over and
use.
over.
That's right.
So speaking of that,
All right.
over and over, how important is brand consistency? And where do you see businesses dropping the ball on brand consistency?
Yep. You know, the larger the client, in some cases, the larger the client, the more likely they're going to have all of that locked down. You know,
Okay.
I've got clients that will send me a brand manual. Okay, all right. This is our logo, and it's to be used in this instance only with these Pantone colors. And I know not to stray from that. I know to
Gotcha.
follow that to a T. Okay.
So that means to that particular corporate client, brand consistency is huge. I don't need you to use a variation of this color.
That's right.
Use this.
I'll get one of the quickest ways to get me fired
Oh, my goodness.
is to
Deviate.
if something is supposed to be in process blue, and I'm just pulling colors out of
Right,
the air.
okay.
But if something is supposed to be in process blue, and I print it either on purpose or by accident, or something, a color shift or something happens, and it shows up reflex blue.
Deal breaker.
Yeah, 100%. And
That's a big deal.
and that's why in my business, generally speaking, before we ever say go, there's
Let's proof it.
and usually 3 times. There's usually 3 sign-offs on it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and because it'll be okay. This is the logo you want to use, right? Yep.
Right.
Okay, and you want it, and this is what it's going to look like on the product. Is that cool? And that's usually yep. And I say okay. Then I send it to one of my vendors, unless it's something I'm doing in-house. Excuse me. I send it to one of my vendors. That vendor will send me a proof, which I will then send to my customer
For another sign off.
and say, okay, here we go. Pre-production proof. Last look.
Okay.
Are we good to go?
So that means that brand consistency is a pretty big
That's right.
deal.
That's right. Now, a lot of my customers depend on me for brand consistency too.
Okay.
And sometimes this is more of your smaller clients and I will even help them develop that branding and that brand consistency. I don't do it personally, Alan. I see everything in right angles. I told you I'm a logistics guy.
Okay.
I couldn't create that sign right there if I wanted to. I just don't see things that way.
I see.
But over the years, I've dealt with so many graphics people that I know how to communicate what my client is looking for.
And that's important.
Yeah, yeah. And I know how to communicate back and forth between the art and the layout and all of that. Oops.
That's okay.
Over to, back to my customer and
Okay.
back and forth to finally get what the customer's looking for, and making sure
Okay.
that it looks right. But where I was going with that is that I try to hold my customers consistent with, like you were saying, their colors and their logos and things like that, so that as long as you deal with me, that consistency is going to be there.
I see what you did
because
there.
I've got the stuff.
Because I got this stuff.
Yeah.
You wander off. They might be $10 cheaper, but will it look like this?
Yeah.
Will your colors be true?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another reason to stay consistent with Perry Whitaker.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
and if a customer hands their logo to me, we put it off over here in a little box, and we've always got it. And,
Okay.
So that's another thing we do over time. You were talking about time. Is over time we build those files on our customers, and that makes it easy for them, because they call me and say, hey, we want to put the Premium Productions logo on there. The one that
they're sponsoring.
we changed. The one that we changed 3 months ago, and we put multimedia on the end of it. So
Right.
So anyway,
Gotcha.
there you go.
Okay. Let me see if I can get a nugget from my local business owners. What are some inexpensive ways local businesses can increase their visibility in today's market?
Yep. All right. So, like we said earlier, I don't know how to put a dollar figure, on this other than visibility. I mean, you can't. I don't know how. I don't know how you buy visibility, better than your employees walking around with your logo on
With
them.
your logo on it.
Are your trucks and your vehicles. I mean, I worked with somebody the other day, and we're doing magnets for their cars.
Okay.
So they're going to be driving around all over town, all over North Mississippi with the company logo on it.
Would that be more inexpensive than a hat or a shirt? Because with that vehicle, that's just, let's say, 3 vehicles tops.
Yep.
Compared to a hat, and they have 9 employees, everybody needs a hat.
That's right. Yeah. Now, I would rather, if a customer came to me and asked me, which would you think I ought to be doing? I mean, if budget is that way, I'm going to say, hey, outfit your employees. Outfit your employees instead of your cars. Because if you're outfitting your employees, one of the things that you're doing is you're building some loyalty with that employee. Especially if you're providing that uniform.
That's a piece of uniform.
That's right.
That's a great.
So if you're providing that to them, you're building some loyalty with that employee. But at the same time, your employee's walking around with your logo everywhere they go, and
that's what I want.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all we got to do is look at our buddy Glenn Best or our other buddy Donovan Barnes or some of those other guys that are in the trades that we know. Notice them and notice their folks.
Yeah.
And
every time you see that hat.
That's right. They've either got a cap on, they've got a polo on, they've got t-shirts, they've got jackets. So,
and people see those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try to walk into a convenience store and watch that cashier's eyes.
Yep.
She gonna go to whatever's on that pocket square every time.
Yep,
I've watched them do it.
Yep.
And I'm like, yep. And I just smile because I like, you saw cream production, didn't you? Yeah, that's great.
That's right.
All right. So if a business only had $1,000 to spend on marketing, where would you recommend they invest that?
Man, you know what? We just have to take it. I mean, that's a hard one to answer, man. We just have to. What are you trying to accomplish?
Okay.
I mean, for real.
Every business is different. So you get with that particular business and find out what your goal is here. You can still spend that $1,000, but it may be different for this business compared to this business, depending on what the overall objective is.
Business A over here may have 2 trade shows coming up. Coming up this summer. Well, I'm gonna say, hey man, have you got table throws? Have you got banners? Have you got
those kind of things?
Have you got pens and stress balls and stuff like that to hand out?
Is now I use stress balls, but do other people really use?
Yeah, I still provide a lot of them.
Okay,
and so that would be one thing. But if they're looking for something more long term, then
might be a different product.
I'm gonna head toward apparel probably with them, or if they do have another particular event coming up that I need about 100 fairly nice giveaways or something like that. Well, then we're going to see if we can't find them a stainless steel tumbler, in the $10 to $15 range.
Price range.
Yeah.
That's nice. You're giving me some ideas.
Well, hey, you know where to get it.
There you go. So, in your years of providing these services in this community, you've built relationships with businesses all over the area over the years.
Yeah.
What is the secret to effective networking?
That's funny, Alan, because that's something I'm kind of working on this year.
Really?
I told myself this year that I was going to try to do 2 things.
Give them to me.
All right. One of them was I was going to work on my social media. Which so far I'm staying consistent with that. I think I told you earlier, I'm more of a big picture guy.
Okay.
The details sometimes kind of get lost on me, and and a lot of us that are out here, as a one-man shop, kind of like you are in some instances, we kind of got to concentrate on the overall business, and the details get lost.
I have to delegate my days. What days I'm selling, what days I'm in the studio, what days it's going to be a social media day. That way I can touch and at least to some degree move the needle move the needle in each one of those areas.
Yeah,
because
but see, you're more motivated than me though.
Okay, well, maybe
you are.
I got to get myself pumped up.
Well, I do too, but I'm liable to tell. I'm liable to tell myself today I'm going to do X, but depending on how that phone rings,
okay,
I'm liable to get sidetracked, and I know a lot of guys like you that can do that, and I just
I gotta get the needle moved because I hold my team accountable.
Yeah, I get that.
And I've given them the authority to do the same here.
Yeah.
So when they see me, after you check your email and get you a soda or a bottle of water, hey, how's that going?
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah, I get
saying?
that.
And I need to be able to respond. And and it's not anything that, like I said, I gave them to the authority to do that. So expect it.
Yeah.
Put your feelings away and let's talk shop.
Okay.
Because they expect that paycheck, at the timely manner, and I need to be able to provide the paycheck.
Yeah.
So this is a system that we've created. It's an ecosystem inside of Premium Productions, and a lot of times it will be like, oh, thank you. Let me email him or her. Oh, thank you. I'll go do that now.
Okay.
That's how I have adopted that type of response, because the last thing you want to do is bite somebody's head off for helping you.
Yeah. Well, and see, I'm an ecosystem of one. So
Okay.
So
All right.
The only head I can bite off is
Okay.
is my wife's and my dog. And
That don't get you nowhere.
it gets me absolutely nowhere. But back to your question. One of the things I told myself I was going to try to do this year was my social media.
Okay.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
All right. And I've been fairly consistent with it.
Okay.
And one of the things that I told myself I was going to try to do this year with my social media was, and I concentrate on 2 platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. 2 good ones. Strong ones.
Yeah. And older guys like me, we're a little more familiar with those 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know anything
I've been
about
seeing you
Instagram.
showing up on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I've been seeing you.
I'm on there, and so I've done that.
Yeah.
The other thing I said I was going to do is I was going to work on my networking, and not just go, yeah, I guess I could go to that day, but man, I don't feel like it. And that actually happened recently at the CDF after hours thing. I always try to go to that.
Yeah.
And they had one recently, and a notification popped up on my phone. I just kind of looked at it and was doing something else at the time.
Okay.
But then later on, I looked at my phone, and that notification was still there, and I went, I don't have anything to do in an hour. I clicked it open. It was CDF Business After Hours, and I went, oh man,
I missed it.
no,
Okay.
hadn't missed it
There
yet.
was still time.
Yeah, there's still time.
How did that go?
Old Perry might have,
Brushed it off.
Just went, oh man, you already got your shorts on. Me and Lulu Dog's already taking a Ranger ride this afternoon. But I went and put my pants back on.
Got back suited and booted and attended.
And I went back. Yep.
And see, that's my next question.
And I don't pat myself on the back on that, but I'm just saying, I said I was going to try to work that, and I really only work 2 networking organizations. I work our BNI chapter, which is very important to me, and it has been for 12 years now. It's hard for me to believe, but it has been 12 years.
Wow, it's a long time.
And also my CDF membership.
Okay.
Now I don't work that CDF membership as hard as some folks do, but I let BNI take the place. If I didn't have BNI, I'd probably be working at CDF membership a lot.
Gotcha.
Harder. But I've got a few things I try to show up for.
Gotcha. Now, how has those 2 business networking organizations, you being involved the way you are, impacted your career and your growth?
Yeah. So I look at CDF as more of a larger organization that brings in people from all different walks of life and all different types of businesses. And I almost always, when I go to an event, they've got Wake Up Tupelo this
Friday,
coming Friday morning.
Yeah.
7:00 in the morning. That's tougher for me every time it rolls around, but I'll be there.
Okay.
But I guarantee I'll meet somebody there I hadn't met before.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. And I'll try to follow that up with an email, with a text message, with a phone call, and so trying to build a little business that way. But now BNI, as you well know, is a different story.
It's a different animal.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in front of the same, and dude, we're up to 35, 36 members now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And
got a healthy group.
And we've got 30-something people in there that are like you and me, that are either business owners or independent in their business and the way they run their businesses, and to be able to stand up in front of them once a week and talk about your business and talk about what you're looking for. I mean, I still don't work it as hard as I could, but
Yeah.
but I still work that B&I chapter pretty good.
So you feel like both of those are contributing on a weekly, if not monthly basis to your growth and the impact of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, B&I,
Okay.
you've probably heard me say this before. Our B&I chapter is probably 2 to 12% of my business every month, in and out every month.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big part of my business.
So how do you turn, because you just mentioned how you would go to a CDF event and make a new business contact and all kind of thing. How do you turn that new business contact into an actual business relationship?
Yeah. You know what? I guess one of the things I've learned, and you know this already, it just takes time.
Yeah,
You know,
I know.
I mean,
I want you to give me some secret
I
sauce.
know.
though,
I wish I
Perry.
had it, dude. If I did, my bank account would probably be bigger than it is. But
You and me both.
I guess anything I've learned is it just takes time.
Okay.
Time and consistency.
Consistency in doing what? Like how many
You know
times
what?
you
I had somebody tell me one time, and I'll go ahead and call him out. My buddy Tom Robinson at Robinson Marketing.
Oh, I love Tom.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
been around forever.
Yes.
And
You're not around that long by accident or just one-offs.
that's right. And I was at a CDF event one time. Now, this has been years ago. And I was at a CDF event, and Tom was there. I went over and spoke to him, and and I just making conversation. I said, Tom, I said, we always seem to show up at these things if they got something to eat or something, just something like
Yeah,
that.
small talk.
Just small talk. And he said, and this has stuck with me, so shout out to Tom. And he said, Perry, if nothing else, we're always here. And I thought,
So
and
other people see that
I've hung
too.
on to that. That's right, they do, and
Yeah.
I've hung on to that, and I guess more than anything, if
hadn't thought
nothing
about
else, I
that.
don't go away.
Okay. Just show up.
Yeah, just show up. Yeah, just show up.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Now you got to be a little,
So
you got to make small talk, and you got to
Yeah,
introduce
don't
yourself.
be over there
you
in
gotta
the
say,
corner.
yeah, you can't be that, but just being there more than anything else. And I've noticed that this year especially, that I've been a little more consistent about
Okay.
it, and it's
Good
paid,
stuff.
It's paid off. Yeah.
in that consistency of showing up, what kind of business lessons have you learned the hard way that every entrepreneur should hear?
Oh, Lord have mercy, man! You all sent me this one before I showed up.
Just give me one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll go to that thing about consistency.
Okay.
You kind of got to decide, what, as an entrepreneur, especially. And I don't know if you classify me as an entrepreneur or just, crazy or whatever, but you kind of got to decide what you do. And I had another buddy tell me one time, I was looking at getting completely out of this industry and going off over here and doing something else.
Okay.
And he said, well, you know what? He said, and he had been doing what he'd been doing for a long time, and younger than me. And he said, you got to decide. Are you Perry, the print and promo guy that everybody knows who you are and what you do,
Okay.
and
All
that
right.
you've been doing it for a long time, or are you Perry, the opportunist, that when something else comes along that you can work your network towards, and are you just out here trying to sell something? And I thought, okay, so
Yeah, that's a great
so
perspective.
Now one of these, you may talk to me in a couple of years, and I've dropped printing and promotional completely, and I'm doing, I'm doing something totally different. But
Okay.
but I've been doing it so long now that the consistency is there. And,
Okay.
You know,
And that's what you're known for.
that's-
When you step in the room.
I hope so. I hope so at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my guy for my printing and marketing material for my business.
And I get introduced that way sometimes.
For real?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
I
what
know
you
that.
want.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that, and I want to walk into a room and somebody's seen my Facebook page or my LinkedIn and go, "Hey, you're Lulu's dad." That's my dog.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, because Lulu's my spokes dog on my social media. So
That's why you be posting her like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put it. I put that up on my.
Because I see just as many photos of Lulu in some kind of capacity as the things that you sell.
Yeah, yeah. I put that up on my. I'm still old school in that I've got a whiteboard. I've got.
Oh, I got one in the back.
I got two
Yeah.
whiteboards side by side right next to my head, and I had Lulu Spokes dog. I bet I had it wrote up there for 2 years. I mean,
Oh,
it was
my
something I
goodness.
thought about 2 or 3 years ago, and this year I finally made it happen. I wasted a lot of time with Lulu. You
Yeah.
know, I could have had a lot going on with her between now and then, but it just kind of all fell into place this
Yeah.
year. But yeah, I try to post something about Lucy Dog every week.
Yeah. Now, I think you've kind of asked this earlier, but
All
I
right.
just want to, you've kind of answered this earlier, but I kind of want to ask it again just
All
to
right.
see if you'll get a different response. What role does customer service play in building a successful brand?
Yeah, I mean that's you know, from my point of view. I mean, you know, my brand. I mean that's all I got. You know, I mean I mean you can point and click all you want to and do a lot of the same stuff that you know, if that's what you're looking to do. But you know, if you're looking to have somebody that, go back to that word consistency, that will give you some consistency in your marketing products and in your marketing materials, then that's, you know, the customer service aspect of it's where I come in. I mean, just like today, I told you when I come in here I was hot, you know, and you giving me a hard time saying that I didn't have my air conditioner on in my truck, but I'm hot because I've been running around. Picking up stuff for my customers that were
Yeah.
ready today that they have deadlines on.
Okay.
You know,
Don't forget that part.
That's right. And
Yeah.
so I was running around today out here in this Mississippi humidity today,
Yeah.
picking this stuff up,
Breathing soup.
and dropping it off. You
Yeah.
know, and using that as an opportunity to shake hands with the customer. And
See what else they need.
I always ask, what
Yeah.
else can I do for you today? You know, yeah. That's
All right. So, what has been the best business book?
Oh, good
That
gosh,
you've ever
man,
read.
well, you got to come up with something like that.
If there's one, there may not be one.
No. Let me think about a couple. And some of these I hadn't read in a few years. Okay.
We're gonna. I won't go into details about
All right.
what is it about the book.
No, it's
I
fine.
just want to know
No,
if there's
I
a.
get that. I get that. And one of them, and I'm not going to say I follow the philosophies all the time, and
Okay.
this is one of those kind of deals where you either love him or hate him.
Okay.
But I became a Dave Ramsey fan years ago. And you know, and I'm hot and cold on his philosophy sometimes, in that I follow him and I don't follow him on a regular basis.
Okay.
That being said, you know, it was one of those things that kind of helped me get my own personal financial life together.
Okay.
You know, many years ago, and I like to take credit for some of the stuff that I learned there, that my son, who is a much better financial manager than I am, I'm not ashamed to admit that.
Okay.
Because I think he learned it from me.
There you go.
You know, he learned the bad stuff and how not to do things. So that's one. You know, still got that one over there, Financial Peace. Also like, and I haven't read this book in a long time. Have you ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Oh yeah.
You know which one I'm talking
I read
about?
it twice.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
So that one's still on my little bookshelf over there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Good stuff.
Yeah. You pulled that one out, but I was ready for it.
Okay. All right. What would you say is the most valuable business advice you've ever received?
Here again, I had a buddy that known him for a long time. He and I are the same age. Much more successful business person than I am,
Okay.
quite frankly.
Okay.
And he would disagree with me about that. But when I was first thinking about getting into commission sales,
Okay.
one of the things that he told me a couple of things back then, because he'd been in commission sales for several years before he went into business for himself.
Okay.
But once he got into business for himself, that's where he found his niche. you
Okay.
know. I mean, that was his deal. And but he told me one time, he said from a commission sales and from a business owner standpoint, he said, and this sounds so cliche, but you can't let the highs get too high or the lows get too low, and
What did he unpack that?
all right. So have you seen these TikTok videos where they got the entrepreneurs or the business owners or whatever, and the guy's sitting there and he's looking at his accounts for the day, and he's like, an entrepreneur or business owner is the only thing you can do where you can look at your bank account on Monday morning and you've got $782 in it, and you look at it on Wednesday morning and you've got $17,842 in it, and then you look at it again on Friday after you've made payroll and done everything you had to do, and you've got $3.42. Okay, so you can't, and that was a hard lesson for me to learn. And the older I got, okay, and we're supposed to get more financially stable the older we
Supposed
get.
to.
And so far I have.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna say that it happened 15 years ago. I'm just talking about in the past few years.
Okay.
But yeah, hot dog, man. Wow, there's a $30,000 order for a whatever, big, man. I went out here, boy, I slayed the dragon today.
Okay.
Kind of deal.
Sweet.
And then next
Bring
week,
it home.
well, yeah, but then next week,
Yeah, it's crickets.
I write $300 worth of business. So and that's hard. That's a hard thing for people to do. I've had a lot of folks that have come to me, and I guess it's just because I'm getting old. I got all this gray in my beard now, I guess. But I've had a few people come to me that have tried to get into, especially commission sales.
Yeah.
And I had somebody one time ask me, said, how long does it take?
What do they mean by that?
When can I get some consistency here?
Oh, okay.
When can I start
keep the money rolling in?
Well, that's right. When can I start feeling comfortable with this? Et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, about 3 years. And a lot of folks, it's and this. You've been doing this a long time. Same as I have. It's hard to It's hard to hang in for 3 months.
Sometimes when it's slow and everyone is telling you no, and you got to train your brain to interpret no, meaning not right now.
That's right.
It wasn't against you personally. It's a business deal. It's nothing against you personally. Don't take it personally.
That's right.
Don't walk home with your tail tucked between your legs and your head all down and that big droop on your face. No, that just meant not right now. But tell that to your bank account.
That's right.
Tell that when it's time to draft that mortgage payment.
Yep.
And it's time to go to the grocery store and swipe the card for these grocery bills.
Yep, I get it. Hey, look, I used to when I was running the roads a lot, when I was in the furniture component business. If I didn't get back to the house, here again, we're talking the early 2000s. If I didn't get back, so 25 years ago. So if I didn't get back to the house and I had driven at least 100 miles that day, that's when you were going out doing, a lot of door knocking.
Okay.
And I was traveling about a 60-mile radius of Tupelo. And I didn't have, the guy that I was working with and under, he wasn't calling me every day saying, hey, what'd you do today? What you going to do tomorrow? What'd you do for me last week? He's like, hey, buddy, it's yours.
So it's on you.
Yeah, he said, it's yours. Run it or don't run it, but it's yours. And I think that's where I learned a lot of this.
Okay. About time management, accountability.
Yeah, and just pure stubbornness more than anything else, and ignorance. I think a lot of times, But if I didn't get back to the house, I hadn't driven 100-something miles that day. I had to look at my notes and go, well, where the heck did you go today? But there was sometimes. I don't know what would happen, but I finally taught myself to do this.
What's that?
Is that when I was running roads a lot.
Okay.
Which, business changed a lot 5 years ago, with COVID, it's almost 6 years ago now, with COVID and the pandemic and everything. Business changed a lot, and the way people do business, and my customers are getting younger, and they've got different ways of doing business, and so anyway.
And that's important. You got to adapt to that.
Yes, absolutely you do.
If they prefer text message,
that's it.
You got to figure out a way to put that PDF of that invoice in a text message.
Absolutely, and I know how to do that.
Look at that.
Yeah, but anyway, where I was going with that was I got to where I'd figure out, it'd be noon, And I'd done knocked on 10 or 12 doors that day. And I'm not talking about just random doors that they didn't know me. I'm talking about people that knew me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't nobody see me that day for whatever reason. You just have those days.
I know.
And I
Yes,
had
you
to
have those
give
days.
myself the permission or the grace or whatever you want to call it, just go to the house.
3 o'clock is plenty good daylight out, and we got several business hours
about
left.
noon or something. I mean for real. I can remember one day specifically. I mean, it was like I was fitting to stop for lunch, and I was down in Houston, Mississippi, or somewhere like that. And I mean, I had just been beat up all morning, and I'm like, I remember the first time I did it, I was just like, you know what, I got to go to the house.
Yeah, just to keep my sanity.
Yeah, and I just go to the house. And of course my office was in my house.
Yeah. But still, you've committed to, like, I'm done with going out and calling on people for today.
Because for whatever reason, it just ain't working today.
Yeah, because if I come up to your business door and I got low energy, if I already look defeated,
That's right.
that has a big part in how you're going to communicate, how I'm going to communicate to you, the customer.
Yeah.
So to keep that from going, from that negative energy to be communicated to a potential customer, why don't I just cut my losses
That's it.
and get myself picked back up for another day tomorrow, and then we'll try it again.
Tomorrow's another day.
Tomorrow's another day.
And one of Dave Ramsey's things that since you brought that up a little while ago, one of the things that one of his quotes is a little different. One of his quotes is a broke salesperson. In which, yes, I mean, you get right down to it. I'm in sales. Okay, I kind of think I do a little more than just out trying to gather up business and earn a commission check. But when it's all said and done, that's what we all do.
Yeah.
But he said a broke salesperson, or to use your word, a defeated salesperson, stinks. I mean, you can smell them.
I just need a sale.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how this product works. Just buy it.
Yeah, buy something.
Just buy some.
Yeah. And I try not to be that guy, and I don't think I ever have been that guy. And they sometimes, I needed to be that guy, but I knew it wasn't going to get me nowhere.
There you go.
Yeah. It wasn't going to, I can go in begging, but what's that going to do?
Yeah.
If you hadn't got a need at a particular time, or I'm in there trying to get you to pull the trigger on something that we've already talked about that's 3 months from now.
Yeah.
What's that going to do?
They can smell desperation on
That's
you.
right.
I think they
desperation.
Can. I think they can. Perry, if anyone has a need for your products or just curious and want to inquire, how can they get in touch with you?
All right. Best way to do it is either call me or text me. I can give out my phone number, I'm assuming.
There you go.
662-871-4923. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Check me out on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay.
I talked about that. So check me out there. Come see what Lulu's doing. She just broke out last Friday. There'll be another Lulu post probably this Friday. So go see what Lulu's up to on Facebook and LinkedIn. Of course, my email is perrybankersadv, as in advertising, @gmail.com. bankersadvertising.com is the overall website.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot of mouthfuls there, but that's the best way to do is call me.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Perry Whitaker with Bankers Advertising. You need any kind of marketing, promotional products for your business, whether it's some of the products that you see here, give my guy a call. He's going to make sure you get hooked up and make sure that you and your team are being represented top shelf in the community. Perry, thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you
absolutely.
coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
And look forward to the next opportunity to do some business with you.
We'll figure something out.
Sure will.
All right, bud.
Thanks, my friend.
Thanks. You got it.